Okay, good evening, my audience and my host, Valentina Echa. It's a great privilege to be on air with you at this fourth edition of Skills Inc. Summit 4.0. My name is Francis Ebeshi, privileged business relationship manager at Money Point. I hold a Bachelor of Agriculture, Crop Science, to be specific, and by the grace of God, I'm also in my master's program in that very field, agriculture. I have a few things to discuss with us, and that has been narrowed down to two main topics, and the third one being a discussion on how this has affected my own business life. For the want of time, we'll go straight to the point. The first topic, as highlighted, is how to leverage networks for business and political growth. Leveraging network for business and political growth. Of course, we would like to give a little expansion on what in the key wordings there. And I think the most interesting out of all there is growth. It's a word that we often mention or use daily. I think it is very necessary for us to understand what growth means even before we go into expanding what the whole topic. Scientists look at growth to be a change morphologically in body size. It can be height, body weight, which is as a result of multiplication of cells. Of course, that's science view of growth. But I think the growth we are looking at here is the art or the sociological expansion, definition of growth in the business environment, in the social environment. What is growth? I've looked at a couple of definitions and picked a few points. I think summarily, I believe that growth is an increase quantitatively and qualitatively in terms of value and numbers. Something is growing, it definitely adds value in terms of how it is valued. Maybe if you are selling a product, if there is growth on it, definitely it will add value, maybe in cost. And then if there is growth taking place, the quantity of that thing has either added. Taking for instance, if we are dealing with human being now, if a child is birthed today, the weight of his arm or arm, so to say, will not be as same when he or she is up to 2-3 years older than he used to be. So growth talks about an increase in either value, number, size, scopes of operations. When it talks about organization, our emphasis is business. So what is good in business? Good will simply mean an increase in the size of a business, its scope of operation, length of operation, and the number of people being served. How do we see that a business is growing? Okay, you sell a particular product today. Tomorrow, the business has grown to a level where you add another product. One man is doing this cement today. At the beginning, over a period of time, the business will grow and expand. The same person will add another product, sugar. Over another time, another person's product will be added. That means there is expansion. There is addition in this business. If the business is not growing, definitely there will be no such financial strength to add more values or products to be sold. So growth in business will mean an addition, an expansion. It may not only be in the number of materials being sold out. Probably the business is about giving out services, advisory services, teachings, knowledge, sharing knowledge, teaching. If there is growth, if that's the kind of business you do, if there is growth, there will definitely be a visible increase maybe in the number of people who depend on that value. Clients being served, maybe you are offering services. From the beginning, you are offering the service for those 10 persons. Going forward, you see that the number of people you offer this service to has increased to 20, 30 and the likes. That means the business or the activity in question is growing. There is growth in it. On the other side, if there is no growth, definitely it will be a fall. So probably if there is a fall, then you are starting with 20. Along the line, you get to 10, 9, 8. and eventually go to maybe no number again. So when something is growing, when a business is growing, there will be a visible increase in number of people which that business is being served, the value is being served, or the products are being sold to, or the area to which these things are being sold. For instance, a product is being made in Abuja today, maybe within 1 year, the basic people within that community are the one who consumes it. Over a year or 2 or 3, you see that this product has gone wide, that some states are now also consuming it. That means the business is growing, because by extending the value of the product to other states, that means number of persons also feeding from it. If it is edible something, has also increased. If there are just 100,000 people in an area who are consuming that product at the beginning, once that goes across to another state, that means the number of people who are consuming it have also increased. And then production at the person, at the end of those, from the end of the person who is a business owner, has increased, because for you to be able to serve a higher population now, definitely there is an increase in your production end. Why increase? There is good. You cannot increase manpower when the consuming end is not, is not increasing. So for any manpower at the end of a business owner to increase, that means there is a corresponding increase in the number of demand for such products or services being offered. And if such things are going pari-passu, then there is growth in it. If there is higher demand, that means there is growth. That product is being valued. That is basically what it will mean in business, to say business is growing. The people being served has increased. People who depend on that product has increased. The scope of operation, area for which this thing is being sold or service is being offered, has increased beyond a particular area to another area. So basically, this is what it entails to say the business has grown over a period of time. Falling back to political growth, of course, politics is just a process or an exercise through which leadership comes into play. Leaders emerge. And people who practice politics are referred to as politicians. It is the desire of anybody who goes into any activity to grow over time. So even a politician who goes into a process to become a leader desires that after 2-3 years or after some time, he should ascend to a level beyond where he or she started. So there is also growth in politics. At the time you were a councillor, at the time you were elevated from councillor to becoming a chairman of council. Another time again, you desire to become maybe a state house assembly member, and eventually even to the House of Reps and Senate, the likes. It is only growth in politics that can give room for someone to be climbing, because all of these positions I have just highlighted is just like a line, a climbing line of ascension. Just like in terms of business, growth in politics will mean that the person is moving from rank 1 to rank 2. The positions to which the person is occupying is moving from a smaller to higher. And almost the same thing in business, it will mean that the area to which, the jurisdiction to which this person in politics covers has also increased. How do you measure growth in politics? An ascension in positions being held, an increase in number of positions being held, or an increase in number of persons being governed. For instance, when as a councillor, the unit or political ward could just be 1,000 persons involved. When you eventually become a chairman, definitely every political ward under that local government are under your watch now. So the number of persons you govern now has also increased. And then if you move again to become a state house assembly member, of course, you now cover the local government and by extension other local government by way of your contribution in the house, which affects other local government within that state. If you now get elevated to maybe the National Assembly as a politician, your contribution does not only affect your state again, it now affects the entire nation. So your growth as a politician is measured also by the number of persons whom your actions, your deliberations, your activities covers. The number of persons depending on your own action, and the number of areas, of course. Area and maybe per head count of persons whom these your decisions affect. If you are a chairman of council, you are just talking about one local government. And when you become a National Assembly member, you are talking about the whole country, because your activities has impact on the nation. So measuring growth as a politician, these key areas, these key factors, maybe local scope of operations, number of persons, and jurisdictions, is a key decimal to measuring growth by political leaders or leader. Now, putting all this together to form the topic, leveraging on one's network for growth in either of these key departments, business, politics. The two elements under focus, business, politics, are people dependent. Humans. If you're a businessman selling biscuit, you are selling to somebody. If you're a politician, you need somebody to represent. If there exists only you, then there is no need for you to become that, because you'll be a leader and a follower. So all of these key elements we are interested in discussing are people dependent. For a leader to exist, there must be a follower somewhere, somebody depending on him. And for a businessman, there may be somebody consuming your product or your service. So they are all people dependent. And now, how does one's relationship, of course, network in technology could mean connection, and it is also almost same thing in the social world, network, connection. My relationship with Mr. A, the strength of my relationship with Mr. B. How does the strength of my relationship with Mr. B help me to grow in this business? How does my communication strength with Mr. C helps me to grow in my political career? It's basically a broader definition of what this topic is all about. One leverages on who he knows or who she knows to sell his or her property, his or her goods, his or her services. This is, of course, what happens even in the business world today, generally, or even the political world. You go to a particular place, definitely there is a sentiment of maybe you want to buy a product, you see who you know you want to patronize him, you see who you know you want to vote him in elections. So if somebody is aspiring to political office, so to say in politics, definitely he has some kind of strength with people he or she knows. Likewise, for somebody selling product, when you go to an area where you have maybe your family members, friends, associates, acquaintances, there's this kind of courage, assurance, hope to say that at least I'm going to this market for the fact that I know a few people here, definitely they're coming to buy. They will possibly concentrate or give me priority over any other person selling there. So if I have a value to offer, product to sell, the people I know, the strength of humans I am connected to, because they are human product I'm selling. I'm not selling to just lower animals. So I need them to buy it. And how much or how well I deal with them, communicate, I know them, is a strong determinant of how far I can grow in this my business. I take an example of a very recent incident that happened to myself. I was privy to get this kind of a connection with somebody. Okay, particularly my former House of Rep member's wife. She linked me to somebody who became a client of mine now. Little did I know, through these clients, I have been able to sell out a good number of my products. This is solely because I have a relationship, I have a network with this other person who led me to him or her. You can be in a particular environment and somebody within that area needs so much of what you sell, but definitely there will be somebody who will be like a mediator who will link the two of you. The activity between the person that needs the product and you who is selling it is what is the connection. And the person who initiates the activity now becomes like a connector. This my former House of Rep members have being a connector to lead me to this my client that is my product, because I know her. I have a network of relationship. I have a network with her. So your network, just like it's rightly said, determines your net worth. Who you know, of course, forms part of your strengths. So business growth, personal growth are all people dependent. These are elements that requires human effort and they are human dependent. So for one to grow in business, human has so much of roles to play, and not just any human, the ones you know. Yes, one can come and buy a product. Of course, this is the product, I need it. But there are sometimes the connection or the knowledge of this person becomes the primary factor. You will go to the market, Mr. A is selling rice, Mr. B is selling rice, all of these things of the same quality. It is, the will or right of whoever is going to buy to decide to buy from who or she knows. So if you are fortunate to be known by the person who is going to buy, you stand a greater chance of being the one to sell this product. So who you know, your network in business, politics are all factors that determine how far and how well you go. To round it up, it is highly important that one takes his or her relationships with people very seriously, very particular business people, politicians who are, of course, every human needs to take another man very seriously. But of course, as a business person, you need a network to leverage on to sell your product. As a politician, you need a network of people who will form support base for you when you aspire for political offices. So basically, growth politically and business-wise requires human network, and I think it is important that anybody who decides to go find any of these ventures must take his or her network very seriously. Thank you.